Welcome back to the Montgomery Companies Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Montgomery, and today we have one of America's top thought leaders. David Meltzer is the co-founder of Sports One Marketing and formerly served as the CEO of the renowned Leigh Steinberg Sports and Entertainment Agency, which was the inspiration for the movie Jerry Maguire. His life's mission is to empower over 1 billion people to be happy. This simple yet powerful mission has led him on an incredible journey to provide one thing: value. He is a 3-time international best-selling author, a top 100 business coach, the executive producer of Entrepreneur's #1 digital business show, Elevator Pitch, and host of the top entrepreneur podcast, The Playbook. His newest book, Game Time Decision Making, was a #1 new release. David has been recognized by Variety magazine as their sports Humanitarian of the Year and awarded the Ellis Island Medal of Honor. I believe that in life we have mentors we get to spend time with in physical form and learn from in person, and I believe we have mentors that we learn from afar. David has been one of the men in my life that I've learned so much from, yet today was our very first conversation. I think you'll see why I've been pursuing David Meltzer and his life-changing content for so many years. With that, it's my pleasure to introduce David Meltzer. David, I believe we all have mentors in life, and I believe that we have a lot of mentors and people that we learn from that we get to meet in person, and then there's many that we never meet. I think about my life. John Maxwell has been a mentor of mine. Ed Milet is a mentor of mine. David Meltzer has been a mentor of mine. And this is our first ever conversation. So as a student of yours, somebody that's been learning from you from a long time, for a long time. And I just want to say thanks, man. This is a real treat and an honor to get to do this with you today. Thanks for being on the show.
It's a pleasure for me as well. One of my mentors, Dennis Waitley, fairly famous sales genius, he told me, Dave, my mission is to plant seeds under trees that I'll never sit under. And so every once in a while, I get to sit under one of those trees, Jordan, and it's so nice to see how you've grown. And I'm just sitting here appreciating all the shade you're throwing my way.
Well, I know I'm going to get better today in our conversation, and I know that you're going to help a lot of our listeners get better. So I'm excited for all that we're going to learn from you through this conversation. Dave, you were behind the creation of the first smartphone. You've been successful in real estate and the tech space. You're a top 100 business coach. You've been on the Ed Milet show. You were on Impact Theory. You've got your own TV show. And so as successful as you've been, I think what makes you special is your ability to shed light on the hard stuff. You don't shy away from talking about failure and the stuff that you've gone through. And so I want to start there today. I just want to get real with you and dive right into what makes David David. Could you inform our audience how failure has shaped your life and just give them a little bit about your background and your story?
Yeah, sure. Well, I grew up poor. In fact, I speak around the world and I ask people, first question, who here grew up poor? And then I state, I feel sorry for the rest of you. The only thing I feel weakened with my own children is to teach them what it's like to be poor. But money took an early relationship with me because it was the only thing that caused anxiety, frustration, or fear in my life, because I was super happy with my single mom, even though she raised 6 kids and packed our dinner in a paper bag and worked 2 jobs. I was super happy, except for when I caught her crying, when financial stress, which was inevitable for food, car, rent, and other things that would occur, the unexpected expenses caused extreme anxiety. So I set off on a mission to make a lot of money, to be happy. And I did so. 9 months out of law school, I was a millionaire. Sold that company, West Publishing, for $3.4 billion in 1995. Went to the Silicon Valley, learned my superpower of raising money, which is still today a great confidence builder. And then ran, like you said, the first smartphone division at Samsung. It was the world's first Microsoft device. It was a Windows CE device. There was no Apple devices in 1999. And through that journey, it just reaffirmed money buys love and happiness. But what happened was I learned the value of what my mom taught me to live by. Number one, gratitude, which gave perspective. And my journey is about my muscle, my capability of being able to find the light, the love, and the lesson in anything. And it started in law school when I sat on the edge of my bed. My oldest brother, who was a doctor, had passed away. I was $100,000 in debt. They're going to throw me out of law school because my credit was bad. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. And I prayed to God, and this is where the muscle started to grow. I said, God, if you could just give me enough, I get choked up because it meant that much. If you could give me enough money to buy my mom a house, to buy my mom a car, and pay off my law loans, I would shovel shit with my hands 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, in gratitude. In gratitude. That's where my mindset was. I would be grateful every day that I show up to clean the shit with my hands, 12 hours a day, if I could just have that. And guess what? 9 months out of law school, I had it without having to shovel one thing with my hand. So I had this mindset. And as I moved from a world of not enough, where I was a victim, right? Everything happened to me. I lived in blame, shame, and justification. Why me? I moved to this world of for me. And I thought I was an optimist. I thought I was a philanthropist. I gave to receive. I was trading. I was negotiating. But I was, in my own ego that everything was for me. If I wasn't happy, I'd buy more things. If I wasn't happy, I'd buy different things. If I wasn't happy, I'd buy things to impress people. If I wasn't happy, I'd buy things to impress people I didn't like. And this world of just enough was not enough for me because I realized that I lacked the gratitude that my mom had taught me. And even more importantly, the forgiveness and humility to have, peace and certainty with forgiveness, that I could not only find light, love, and lessons in every shit that is in everybody's life, but I could find peace and certainty through forgiving myself and others. And then accountability. I had lost all I was living back, even though in the world of for me, blame, shame, and justification, there was no accountability, which gave me no control of my own life, which took away all my confidence. And even though I ran the most notable sports agency in the world, multi-millionaire, a guy who married way above his coverage, a guy who married his dream girl from the 4th grade that hated him until he was 26 years old, that he finally had money. Everything came to a head for me that I needed to take stock in who I was and what I wanted to become through gratitude, forgiveness, and accountability. And 2 years before I lost everything, I'm one of the few people, I lost over $100 million in 2008. 2 years before that is when I hit rock bottom and I started to live by these values. And although circumstantially my effects of my actions caused me to go bankrupt in 2008, I always say I was already on my way up. I was compounding the interest to positive effect. And there was no doubt in my mind that when I lost everything, it wasn't going to take me 9 months to make my first million. In fact, it took me 2 weeks.
I just admire your vulnerability, David. I mean, your ability to just be transparent and put your story on display. I think that's why people connect with you, man. I believe that. Like, there's a lot of people like you who communicate. You're a top 10 speaker because you connect and people see and feel your heart. And so I just want to say thank you for that, man. And I also think this, money is the echo of value, right? My good friend Bob Berg, who wrote the book, The Go-Giver, who's been on our podcast, said money is the echo of value. And one of the things that you believe in is providing value. And I know you do your free trainings. We're going to talk about that here in just a little bit. But you do things that don't make sense. Like, you just do things that are radical to go out of your way to help people and bless people. In fact, at one point you said, I won't work with people unless they're value oriented. If they don't care about giving back, I'm not interested. Tell us how that type of philosophy has informed the way that you operate and act.
I believe it's actually an idea of energy that if we can receive, then we can give more. And what I learned through the process is that I come from nowhere. I'm now here. Just move the W over and then move it back. I'll be back into nowhere. So if that's true, which is why my dad gave me a jacket with no pockets to remind me I can't take anything with me, to remind me money doesn't buy happiness and love. It does allow you to shop. And if you shop for the right things, not the things you don't need to impress people you don't like, you'll be happy. But what it does from nowhere to now here to nowhere reminds us that we're here to give away our lives. That's why we're here. We're here to learn as many lessons as it is to give away everything that we receive. And so my whole paradigm shifts upon, I want to not only give, but I want to receive more and more. And if I don't surround myself with the right people and the right ideas, people who are aligned with this abundant value system, not a world of not enough, not a world of just enough, but a world of more than enough of everything for everyone, a system that sits between limitlessness and infinity, one that knows that it's not to me as a victim, it's not for me as a scarce capitalist, but it's through me for others. And that is where I live my life. And that is why I require everyone I do business with to have a charitable purpose or cause tied to what we're doing. And that's why I wrote the book, Compassionate Capitalism, with Blaine Bartlett, to help impact people to understand what compassionate capitalism is, how to be a capitalist and a servant all at the same time.
So one of your mantras is make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun. I want to know how you live that out. And I'd like for you to speak about the money piece too, Dave, because a lot of people would say, hey, I'm on board with that. Help a lot of people, have a lot of fun, but why make a lot of money? So speak to that, would you?
Yeah, well, you can't give what you don't have. And like I said, money is super important because you cannot literally, if you shop for the right things, you will be happy. And the more money you have, the more opportunity you have to shop for the right things. So for me, money's first, because I'm sorry, my mom gave her life away to help, as a second grade teacher and an educator, thousands of people. But in my mind, wouldn't it have a greater impact to hire 10,000 of my moms? Right. And I understand their role. Not everyone has the same skills, knowledge, and desires. But for me, to create abundance, I need to receive as much as I can with full faith that it's going to come through me for others. Nothing sticks to me. I have a literally complete downflow system of everything I receive for others. I don't need anything. My philosophy is I wouldn't be here if I need anything. So like even clothes I wear, I won't buy myself. Everything goes through me to my wife, to my kids, to my community, to my state, to my nation, to the country. The biggest and most important or impactful thing that I did for my 50th birthday is the greatest thing I ever bought. 2 community centers actually in Africa, my wife and I. It'll impact millions of people in my lifetime, building those community centers. And forget the Ferraris, the boats, the planes, and all the other things that I've owned in my life. These are the things that fulfill me.
You're on a mission to make 1 billion people happy. I know that's important to you. Over 1 billion people.
No limit, David.
That's right. So how do you take a big vision like that and marry it with the day-to-day? Right? Walk us through that.
So, I was blessed to be around some great mentors as well. And I remember Steve Jobs saying, you got to connect the dots backwards. And so taking that idea of what 1 billion people that are happy would do, for me, it would create a collective consciousness. So for me, with 8 billion people or so in the world, if I could create a collective consciousness that was happy, 1 particle of light overcomes 1 million particles of darkness, we can shift an entire universe of abundance. Well, how is it going to get there though? And so what I decided to do is if I could find in my lifetime, when I started out, I was 50 years old. So if I start and find 1,000 Jordans that I can teach values and daily practices to. And this is why I do the free trainings. This is why I give my books for free, my exercises, my guides for free. This is what my 2 TV shows, Elevator Pitch, which is Entrepreneur's #1 digital show. I'm launching a new show on Bloomberg TV and Amazon Prime called 2 Minute Drill. You've heard my podcast. I know you listen to it and watch it religiously. All of those are geared to teach people my values and daily practices shared with billionaires, millionaires, entrepreneurs, entertainers, athletes, executives, whoever. But if I can find 1,000 Jordans and teach him to teach 1,000 more Jordans, to teach 1,000 more Jordans, 1,000 times 1,000 is 1 million, 1 million times 1,000 is 1 billion. I personally, without ego, can change the world. Even though people laughed at me, made fun of me, scoffed at me, asked me if I thought I was Tony Robbins or Jesus Christ, I stuck to my guns because eventually they will applaud me 1 person at a time empowering one person to empower one person. And the numbers are achievable. They make sense. In fact, in those speeches I used to give pre-COVID, and I tell people this was my mission after I asked if they were poor, most people at the beginning, I say, who thinks I can do it? And nobody raises their hand. After I speak and after I tell them, now, who here wants to be one of my 1,000? And thousands of people raise their hand. Then I ask, who here thinks I can change the world? They raise their hand. And then I said, who here thinks they can change the world? And they raise their hand. That's what I live for. That's what I live for. That's why I'm on this interview with you, is because I know you're one of those 1,000 and we've never met before today.
Well, I'm excited to go deeper with you, Dave. I opened this conversation with thank you, and I'm going to end this conversation with thank you. You've mentioned that phrase, those two words, thank you, can change your life. Said in the morning and said at night. Can you go deeper there?
Yeah, for sure. I have studied physics, quantum physics, and metaphysics. I sit on the Transformational Leadership Council with some of our mentors, Bob Proctor, Jack Canfield, Brian Tracy, Blaine Bartlett. I mean, world thought, Deepak Chopra. All of us agree that thank you will change your life. And I believe if you say thank you, it takes about 0.1 seconds before you go to bed and when you wake up for 30 straight days, it'll infiltrate the neural pathways of your mind and become part of your subconscious. If you continue to do so, it'll create a frequency by activating your DNA, your quantum memory, your own quantum, unconscious competency. Personality traits will change, your characteristics will change, your obsessions will change, your addictions will change, but most importantly, your frequency will be strengthened and widened in spectrum and clearer in its purpose, and it will attract to you all the things that you want. The easiest way to change your life is to say thank you before you go to bed and when you wake up. Here's the sad thing though. By tonight, regardless of all that data, physics, quantum physics, metaphysics, transformational leadership council, Deepak Chopra, Jack Canfield, despite all that, half of us won't say thank you tonight. By tomorrow morning, another half of us won't say thank you. Within 3 days, all of us will ignore the easiest and best piece of advice that I give people to change their life and get what they want because they're so far in their own way.
Well, gratitude just oozes out of you, man. It just does. Just part of who you are. It's in your DNA, and you're oozing onto a lot of people. You say there's 3.2 billion people on the internet, and you're trying to reach as many of them as possible. One of the places I know we can find David Meltzer for free is your Friday training. So can you just give us the 30-second window into your Friday training?
Yeah, I've been doing it over 20 years to empower people. First, to make money. That was the idea. It was mostly sales. But over the last 20 years, it's evolved into happiness, which is make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. So if you want to join me live, it's 11 a.m. every Friday. Just email me, david@dmeltzer.com, to join for free. I give exercises, books, guides. All my books I give for free. I sign them, I send them, I pay for shipping, not a problem. And if you miss it, because it is Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, all you got to do is catch the replays. They're featured on Spotify. The playbook is featured there, its own meeting and playlist. Entrepreneur features it, the magazine and the media side. And of course, every platform has it. So if you want to be empowered to make more money, help more people, and have more fun, join the live or the replay of my training.
If you are not following David Meltzer, you need to go follow this guy. You're going to be happier. You're going to be more grateful. You're going to smile more if you follow this dude. Dave, I can't get away from you. Literally on the social media platforms, watching your show, you show up in my world almost every single day. And so again, I just want to say thank you, man, for your impact, for who you are. God is using you in a big way in the lives of many. And I think for David Meltzer, the best is yet to come. So keep charging, brother.
Thank you so much. Remember, everyone, be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Please join me, david@dmeltzer.com. Jordan, I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much for allowing me to sit underneath your shade. And I'll keep watering your tree as much as I can.
Appreciate you, David. Be well. Have an amazing day. Thank you for listening. This has been another episode of the Montgomery Companies Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Montgomery, and I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending your very valuable time with us. We also want to thank David Meltzer for your time, your energy, your counsel, and the great conversation that we shared today. If you are not following David Meltzer online, be sure to check this guy out. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. You can find him on all social media platforms. And make sure that you check out his free weekly Friday training. Each Friday, David delivers free content that will change your life and change your business. I also want to say thank you to our producer, John Choate of Storyline Multimedia, for all of the great work that you put into producing these shows and editing this content. You are a major blessing in our life. If you would, like, share, or subscribe to the Montgomery Companies Podcast. We would love to move the mission forward and serving many. Have a wonderful day. Thanks again for being with us.